Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my player ratings for Manchester United's 1-1 draw against Burnley at Turf Moor. So I'll start with David De Gea. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. De Gea made some good punches away, and he made a fantastic save in the second half to deny Wout Weghorst. Not so long ago, De Gea was named the Premier League's Player of the Month for January. He became the first goalkeeper to win the award in 6 years. De Gea is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. This season has been his 11th season at Manchester United, so reflecting on that, he's been a long serving. He's been with us since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Revert back to earlier on this season, it said De Gea is planning to spend many more years at Manchester United. His contract at Manchester United expires next year. Revert back to last summer, he reclaimed the number 1 spot back, as he did decide to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks. De Gea has made over 500 appearances in all competitions, and he's won everything domestically at the football club. Manchester United got him from Atletico Madrid back in 2011. Revert back to 2015, David De Gea was close to joining Real Madrid on deadline day, but his move to Real Madrid didn't materialise due to a fax machine. De Gea is the second highest earner at the club behind Ronaldo. De Gea receives £375,000 a week. Now moving on to Diego Dalot, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. He put a very good performance out. He got forward well. He made some good interceptions. Dalot's been very impressive under Rangnick. He's our first choice right back under Rangnick. Do you think Dalot will leave Manchester United in the summer? Well, he has been subjected to transfer speculation before. Last season, Dalot had a loan spell with AC Milan, so reflecting on that, he gained some experience. Manchester United got Dalot a few years ago from Porto. Manchester United paid £19 million for him. His contract at Manchester United expires next year. Moving on to Rafael Varan, he's going to get a 7 out of 10. Defensively, he was good. Varan had scored, but the goal got disallowed by VAR for offside, and Varan almost scored with a flick. Varan has done really well since he come back from that hamstring injury. Varan's endured 2 injuries since he signed for the club. The first injury he got was a groin injury, and then obviously after that he got a hamstring injury. Most of the time when Varan plays, he seems to make the difference. Varan is regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world. He's highly experienced and he's got a good pedigree behind him, because look at the amount of silverware he won when he was at Real Madrid. Man United signed Varan last summer for 41 million with add-ons included. He's under contract until 2025. There's an option of a further year. Harry Maguire, he's going to get just a 3 out of 10. Maguire cost us. Maguire was the culprit for Varan's disallowed goal, and he was also to blame for Burnley's equaliser. For some reason, Maguire didn't decide to block Rodriguez. Manchester United fans call for Harry Maguire to be stripped of the captaincy. He's not a leader. There's a good chance Manchester United will offload Harry Maguire in the summer. He's had a few injuries as well since he signed for the club. He had a minor injury earlier on this season. Before then he had a calf injury, and revert back towards the end of last season he had ligament damage in his ankle. Harry Maguire certainly wasn't worth the 80 million that Manchester United paid for him. He is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. Moving on to Luke Shaw, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. He was good in the first half. He made some good overlapping runs. He got into some good positions. Defensively was good. And he got the assist for the Paul Pogba goal. Luke Shaw, though, weren't too good in the second half. Luke Shaw also played against Middlesbrough in the Cup. So Luke Shaw's played the last 2 games, obviously because Tellez hasn't been available. Tellez is out with COVID at the moment. But revert back to Shaw, Shaw has endured a lot of poor games this season. And he's had a few injuries as well this season, and he is injury prone, which is a concern. He's been at Manchester United for 8 years, so reflecting on that, he's been a long-serving player. He has been a long-serving player. But last season, I've got to say that Luke Shaw was probably the best left-back in the Premier League. Now, moving on to Paul Pogba. I'm going to give Paul Pogba a 7 out of 10. I thought he endured a good game. Paul Pogba scored his first goal of the season, and it was his first Premier League appearance since October. Pogba also played in the cup game against Middlesbrough, and he actually played well in that one. If you do remember rightly, he won the penalty normal time in that game. There's a very good chance Pogba will be leaving the club in the summer. Pogba's contract at Manchester United expires in the summer. But there again, revert back to a few weeks ago, he said Pogba is willing to stay at Man United as long as Ralf Rangnick is the manager for next season, because Pogba has been impressed by Ralf Rangnick since his arrival, and it said that Pogba would be open to signing a new contract. Now, a couple of months ago, like I've mentioned so many times, the Sun said that Manchester United offered Paul Pogba a new £500,000 a week contract. That would have made him the highest paid player in Premier League history, but Pogba actually denied being offered that contract. Pogba is injury prone because he's endured quite a few injuries since he re-signed for the club. This season has been his 6th season at Man United since he re-signed. He's won 3 trophies at the club so far. He's played over 200 games since he re-signed, and Manchester United paid £89 million for him, so reflecting on that, he's our most expensive signing at the moment. Moving on to Scott McTominay, he's going to get just a 5 out of 10. I thought he was quite poor. McTominay has been poor in the last few games. And he's had good games under Rangnick. You know, I did mention not so long ago that McTominay was our best player under Rangnick. I don't think McTominay is good enough. McTominay has been part of the football club for a long time. Revert back to 2020, he signed a 5-year contract with Manchester United. Moving on to Bruno Fernandez, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. He played very well, did Bruno Fernandez. His passing was good, his vision was good, his movement was good. Don't forget, Varan's disallowed goal came from a free kick from Bruno Fernandez. It was a good ball in from Fernandez. You know, Fernandez is back to his best now. You know, Fernandez did quite well against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. He had chances. The best chance he had against Middlesbrough was when he hit the post. He got an assist as well for the Jaden Sancho goal against Middlesbrough. Fernandez also played very well in the games against Brentford and Aston Villa away in the league. Because against Brentford he provided 2 assists and he scored both of Manchester United's goals in the 2-2 draw against Aston Villa. But it's good now that he's back in form because, let's be honest, Fernandez has endured a lot of poor games this season. I thought he was far superior last season to how he has been this season. Fernandez is one of our best players and he's certainly one of the best signings we've made since Ferguson retired. Earlier on this season, The Athletic said that Fernandez rejected a contract offer from Man United. Having turned down an offer last year. Contract talks for Bruno Fernandez have been postponed until the summer. He said he was demanding similar money to the top earners at the club. Fernandez receives £100,000 a week at the moment. He's under contract to Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further 12 months. He's been a Manchester United player for 2 years. Manchester United signed Bruno Fernandez from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. Moving on to Jaden Sancho, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. What a game he endured yesterday night. You know, Sancho was very good on the ball. Every time he got forward, he looked dangerous. Sancho is really starting to come good now. He also played very well in the cup game against Middlesbrough. Well, Sancho scored against Middlesbrough. That was his first Old Trafford goal, and that was, of course, on his FA Cup debut. There's other good games Sancho's had as well. I thought he played very well against Burnley at Old Trafford in the final game of last year, but unfortunately he was denied a goal in that game. He played very well in the games against Chelsea and Villarreal away because he scored in both of them games, and he played well in the game against Crystal Palace last year in the first half. So hopefully Sancho can continue with these good performances. He's still done nowhere near as well as a lot of United fans expected, but it does take some players time to settle in. Revert back to when we had Solskjaer, we couldn't get the best out of Sancho because Solskjaer persistently played him out of position. There was quite a few games Sancho didn't even play in anyway under Solskjaer. Man United signed Sancho last summer from Borussia Dortmund, got him for 78 million with add-ons included. Man United paid 73 million up front. He's got a contract with Man United until 2026. There's an option of a further year. Sancho did enjoy 4 good years with Borussia Dortmund before he signed for Man United. Moving on to Marcus Rashford, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he played well. Rashford actually had a good early chance, produced a good save from Nick Pope. His decision making weren't great at times, but I thought Rashford made some good runs in behind and he got into some good positions. Rashford has now found some form because Rashford didn't do too bad against Middlesbrough in the cup. He had chances in the game against Middlesbrough, plus he had a goal disallowed. He came off the bench and scored the winner against West Ham before the international break, and he came off the bench and scored against Brentford. Reflecting on that, that ended Marcus Rashford's 3-month goal drought. But Rashford has enjoyed a lot of poor games since he had that operation on his shoulder, and a lot of United fans, including me, have said that Rashford has not been the same player since he had that operation on his shoulder. Rashford missed the first 2 months of the season with that shoulder problem. He had a minor leg injury earlier on this season. Rashford's been targeted by PSG. Barcelona went in for him earlier on this season. Earlier on this season, it said that Rashford was preparing to open contract talks with Man United. Rashford's contract expires next year. He receives £200,000 a week, Rashford. Rashford has been part of the club for a long time. He's been a United player since the age of 7 and he broke into our senior squad back in 2016, and since then he's gone to make almost 300 appearances. Edison Cavani, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. He had a chance in the game from close range, produced a good save from Nick Pope, but apart from that, Edison Cavani was anonymous. Cavani obviously didn't play in the cup game against Middlesbrough. Cavani's endured a few injuries this season. He will leave Man United in the summer because, revert back to earlier on this season, Rafael Varan revealed that Edison Cavani wants to stay at Man United till the end of the season. Cavani's out of contract at Man United in the summer. River Plate are considering a transfer for Cavani in the summer to replace Julian Alvarez. Last year, Barca went in for him. It said last year Cavani agreed to join Barcelona on an 18-month contract. And Juventus and Boca Juniors went in for him. Cavani rejected a move to Boca Juniors. Man United got Cavani on a free transfer from PSG back in the summer of 2020. Of course, we brought substitutes on in the game. Cristiano Ronaldo came on. I'll give him a 5 out of 10. I think he had 2 headed chances. But yeah, his finishing was poor. Is it like 5 games now where Ronaldo hasn't scored? I was surprised Ronaldo didn't start against Burnley. I thought he would have done. Ronaldo weren't that good against Middlesbrough in the cup. You know, he had chances. One of his chances came from an overhead kick, and of course he missed a penalty in normal time against Middlesbrough. There's a very good chance Ronaldo will leave Man United in the summer. It said not so long ago that Man United consider swapping Cristiano Ronaldo for PSG boss Mauricio Pochettino. It's already mentioned that Ronaldo will leave Man United in the summer if they fail to qualify for the Champions League, and it said Ronaldo faces a 25% pay cut on his wages if we fail to qualify for the Champions League. Earlier on this season, Ronaldo did give an interview, didn't he? And he was backing Rangnick to do a good job. And he said, I'm not at Man United to compete for 6th or 7th. He said, finishing below 3rd is unacceptable. And plus, Ronaldo in the interview was critical of the youngsters, so reflecting on that, he was demanding more from the youngsters. Since Ronaldo re-signed for Man United, he's scored 14 goals in all competitions. He's got over 800 goals in his career. Man United re-signed Ronaldo last summer for 20 million with add-ons included, and he wears the number 7 shirt. His contract at Manchester United expires next year. There's an option of a further year, and he receives nearly £500,000 a week. Ronaldo has won over 30 trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. Jesse Lingard also came on in the game. I'll just give him a 5 out of 10. And Anthony Elanga came on. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Don't forget, Elanga missed a decisive penalty against Middlesbrough. And reflecting on the missed penalty, Anthony Elanga got racially abused on social media. I disagreed with that completely. Yeah, he may have cost us the game against Middlesbrough, but he's done really well since he got into our first team. And I've mentioned so many times he looks a very good asset for the first team squad. So there you go, that is your player ratings for Manchester United's 1-1 draw with Burnley. Reflecting on the draw, Manchester United have dropped out of the top 4. I thought in the first half yesterday, Manchester United were dominant. Weren't as good in the second half. Like I mentioned when I was doing my player ratings, you know, Pogba scored for Man United and Manchester United had 2 goals disallowed. Like I said, Varan had his goal disallowed. And the other one, Josh Brown's own goal, was disallowed because Pogba committed a foul in the build-up to the goal. The Josh Brown own goal actually came from a Marcus Rashford cross. There's some people saying that Man United's second goal should have stood. Jay Rodriguez scored Burnley's equaliser. It was his first goal in 50 league games, and it was Wout Weghorst that got the assist. Wout Weghorst, like I mentioned, had a very good chance, produced a good save from De Gea,
Burnley signed Wout Weghorst from Wolfsburg last month. Burnley paid £12 million for him. He signed a 3.5-year deal. Obviously, Wout Weghorst is the replacement for Chris Wood because Chris Wood departed Burnley last month to join Newcastle. Burnley had 3 players missing. Obviously, there was no Charlie Taylor because he was out with a foot injury. There was no Goodmanson, he was out with injury. And obviously, there was no Match Vidra because he's got hernia. Burnley do remain bottom of the Premier League. They've only won one game all season. I think if Burnley do get relegated this season, there's a very good chance that Sean Dyche will get sacked. Sean Dyche has been Burnley's manager for around 10 years, so reflecting on that, he's been a very long-serving manager. Burnley appointed him in back in 2012. He's got a contract with Burnley till 2025. Before Burnley, he managed Watford. Manchester United only had a few players missing. Obviously, there was no Alex Telles, like I mentioned, because he's recently tested positive for COVID. There was no Fred, because Fred's got COVID. Fred's not good enough anyway. There was no Bai, because he's injured, but he doesn't really get in the team anyway. Chong's injured. And that's about it. And obviously Lindelof's missed the last few games due to personal reasons. The last time Manchester United lost at Turf Moor was back in 2009. That game was 1-0 to Burnley. Robbie Blake scored a screamer. Man United won the fixture at Turf Moor last season 1-0. Manchester United's next game is Southampton. That is on Saturday. It's a 12:30 kick-off. And obviously, you know the news regarding Mason Greenwood. Nothing much more is updated on him, to be honest with you. Prior to the Burnley game, he said Mason Greenwood's been dropped by Nike after rape allegation. Mason Greenwood is banned from England and Man United, so he can't train or play any matches. And the other week, Greenwood was released on bail after his arrest. Greenwood's been arrested twice on suspicion of sexual assault, making threats to kill, rape and assault. And not so long ago, Man United fans burned their Mason Greenwood shirts. Rangnick, he gave his perception on the 1-1 draw against Burnley, and he admitted that Manchester United were not good enough. Prior to the game, in the press conference, Rangnick said, if Man United have not won a title in the last 10 years, there are some good reasons for that. And he said the club are improving on the pitch despite Man United's shock FA Cup exit to Middlesbrough. Rangnick's been Manchester United's interim manager for around 2 months now. He's Man United's interim manager until the end of the season, then Rangnick's expected to continue in a consultancy role for a further 2 years. Rangnick won't get the Man United job on a permanent basis. Rangnick has endured one transfer window as Manchester United's interim manager. Man United endured a very disappointing January transfer window. Last month Manchester United did not make any signings. And Man United wanted to sign a midfielder because when Rangnick first came in, he identified Manchester United's midfield as a weakness. We should have let Lingard and Edison leave last month, but we obviously blocked their exits. We had the incident with Mason Greenwood towards the end of last month. Man United did loan a few players out though last month. We loaned Donny van de Beek out to Everton. We loaned Amad Diallo out to Rangers. Martial went out on loan to Sevilla. Ethan Laird. He went out on loan, didn't he? Tuanzebe went to Napoli on loan. Teden Menga went out on loan to Birmingham. So we let around 8 players leave last month. And also Ed Woodward stepped down. That was good news from a Manchester United perspective, because obviously Woodward was one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. Ed Woodward was at Manchester United for 17 years. Richard Arnold replaced Ed Woodward, didn't he, as a new chief executive. Revert back to Rangnick. Before Manchester United, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. There's been good performances under him. There's also been poor performances as well. To his credit, he's made changes since he's come in, because revert back to earlier on this season, he recommended Ewan Sharping as an assistant coach and analyst. He also recommended Chris Armisen as an assistant coach, and he recommended Saz Chalenzin as a sports psychologist. I do think that there's a very good chance that Erik ten Hag will be Man United's next permanent manager, because the other day a Dutch journalist claimed that Erik ten Hag will leave Ajax at the end of the season, following the departure of Mark Overmars, and obviously Erik ten Hag was upset with Mark Overmars departing. And earlier on this season, Rangnick said that he wanted Erik ten Hag to become the club's new manager in the summer, and I reckon there's a lot of United fans that would like to see him get recommended in. If we don't get ten Hag, I believe we will get Mauricio Pochettino. Man United are looking for the 5th permanent manager since Ferguson. 4 permanent managers have been sacked since Ferguson. We sacked Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, and last year we sacked Solskjaer. And like I mentioned yesterday, Manchester United have spent over 1.3 billion in 10 years. And we've won just 4 trophies in 10 years. Man United have recouped around 397 million in sales. We've wasted around 909 million in the transfer market. Manchester United have not won anything since 2017, that's 5 years ago now. We've not won the Premier League since 2013. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do. Consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.